You know, the Republicans have been talking crime, 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 as if they have a solution to crime. As this panelist has to say, it's amazing that they cannot look at data, they cannot look at real solutions, instead always have the same draconian methods. Lock them up, put more cops on the streets, and what we've gained from all of that, not any reduction in crime. What we've gotten is just police brutality along with quite a bit more. And I don't want to just centralize on police brutality. We know there are cops who do a good job, and you know these communities need cops. But again, if you want to use a hammer on every problem, you get it creates issues. Listen to what this guy had to say, because what he's saying makes a whole lot of sense.
How should candidates of either party actually be talking to voters about crime? What would a reasonable dialogue about crime rates that are in fact rising? They're not where they were in the 80s, but they have in fact risen. What would that reasonable dialogue be like?
Well, the first thing that I think we have to do is we have to stop sensationalizing America's crime problem, because that leads to inaccurate narratives that then also gives rise to improper solutions that focus on symptoms rather than systems. And so what do I mean by that? We have to understand and look at what it is that we know. And we know that roughly 80% of the crime that occurs in this country is nonviolent, low-level misdemeanor, and or traffic violations. So that leaves about 20% of violent crime, which admittedly is still on the rise, but does not at all compare to the overall majority of the crime that is occurring. That's the first thing, is that the framing focuses on violent crime when violent crime is not at all a significant majority of what's occurring. What does that do? What do we know? Well, we know, in addition to those statistics, that the GOP, generally speaking, and the right, has given up on anything that resembles the notion of inclusion with respect to the voters that it is courting. The significance of that is that they have now turned to a strategy that sensationalizes crime, that weaponizes crime, and that racializes crime to unfortunately engage a certain demographic of their voting base that is receptive to these tactics. Because of that, it gets away from actual data-driven solutions like creating employment opportunities, like investing in local economies, in addressing the things that actually create crime, rather than, and those are systemic, rather than addressing symptoms like let's fund more police, let's build more jails, let's lock people up. Anyone who was around for the crime bill in the 90s will tell you that that is not a viable nor sustainable solution. And so we've got to get away from it. The sensationalizing of crime and that narrative is exactly why you're more likely to hear people talk about a roundup of gang members in Bed-Stuy where there are no gun factories, for example, instead of talking about Brett Favre, for example, who is right now having trouble with respect to millions of dollars of misappropriation. That's how that racialization, that's how that weaponization of crime occurs, and it distorts the narrative significantly.
So it's, in a sense, we need to look at the data. We need to look at causality. We need to ensure that the solutions that we have to whatever crime problems we have is based on data. Here is the interesting thing, however. If you look at the red state has more crime than the blue states. And what's the factor in there again? Laissez-faire guns, laissez-faire gun laws. You have more guns, you have more incidents of using it, you have more incidents of using it, you have more crime. And that is exactly what the data says. It's exactly what it says. If you want, what I tell people a lot of times, and people think I'm hyperventilating about it, but it's not true. Republican politicians are a clear and present danger to your health, a clear and present danger to your life, a clear and present danger to your personal economy. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.